So, some big news on Romelu Lukaku. There is a possibility that we can actually sell this player and not put him on loan for the third season since we signed this player. And we do not have to go into full detail on how bad of a signing this was. Now, granted, it did start off really well with Thomas Tuchel, but we all know how that went. There's your daddy, which surprisingly, it looks like Romelu Lukaku may be going back to Antonio Conte, who happened to be the player that Thomas Tuchel was talking about. Now, the article I was looking at here, I'm going to pull it up, is very kind of interesting looking at this because obviously we've been trying to sell him or get him off the books or just have him away from the club because we all know how bad the atmosphere he has been with Chelsea, and I would even argue with Belgium. He's a guy that has the capability of being a very goal scorer, but also the opportunity to mess up quite a bit. We've all seen it time and time again. I don't want to go in that much detail on how exactly I feel about this player at this club. But that all being said, there looks like there's a permanent deal that could end with Lukaku's nightmare spell, seeing that he has been the last two seasons at Inter, Roma, and now looking at going to Napoli. I cannot wait to see if he signs for Napoli, how Roma and Inter are going to treat him when he goes there and plays against them, because we've all seen him kiss the badge, and therefore, again, he is a player that, for some reason, every place he goes, he says this is the place I've always dreamed about playing, and he just says this is the right place for him, but somehow it never is the right place for him. But despite all that, the man can still score goals, and therefore Antonio Conte knows that. He obviously had him utilized very, very well when he had him at Inter. They won the league itself, so it does not really question the idea of Conte really bringing him back in. Yes, obviously it's been a couple years. Romelu Lukaku's getting a little bit older. I don't think his pace and his touch is still there yet, but still, that being said, this would be a great thing for Chelsea because what this would actually offer then is it frees up one spot for us, obviously, from our loan deal because you can only loan so many people out in a season. So that's one thing off the books. Also, his wages, the amount of fee we're paying for him, and if we do get the right amount for him, which again they did talk about, there's a possibility of around 35, give or take, that even though Napoli's trying to only do like 20-ish, I think it comes down to if we can just break even at this point with this player, it is what it is, or at least get a little bit for him, despite us paying 100 million from him. Again, we definitely got hosed on this player itself. There's really no positives with how the whole situation went with Romelu Lukaku. Not even just the first time around, but now the second time around. Because you're thinking when he left after Jose Mourinho shipped him out, you're like, all right, it is what it is. He's a younger player. He came back. He could prove his worth. But the problem is that when he was faced with showing how his worth it was, it just really never came up to it. Yeah, he scored a few goals for Thomas Tuchel, but like I said, when he was needed, it never happened. We all remember the interview. He had the injury, and therefore it was just a steep drop off at the club. And therefore, again, I do not see how Enzo Maresca could even utilize this player because the way he wants to play, the passing, the possession like Pep Guardiola, Romelu Lukaku will never fit that system. So we have to get him away from this club because we can't just throw him into the mix because anytime we play the ball to him, we would lose possession. We're not going to have the capability of having a guy press and win the ball back as well. Romelu Lukaku doesn't offer a whole lot that Enzo Maresca wants to see at this club. And so it does not surprise me, even if we had any other manager, even Pochettino didn't want him at this club. Graham Potter didn't want him. So you have to understand that all these managers do not want him besides Antonio Conte. Because, again, Conte understands how he can utilize Lukaku because if he's playing real high up with those wingbacks, they can cross the ball into Lukaku, who, like I said, if he gets the opportunity, he can usually score those goals. But that's not going to be the case here at Chelsea. Not in any time future. And like I said, he's already burnt all the bridges here at the bridge. So, yeah, pun intended there. But that all being said, we do have to still then look at our forward situation because as of right now, Nicholas Jackson hasn't trained at all yet. He's been dealing with an ankle injury, so we right now are really relying on about two players, and that is Nkuku and possibly anyone else that we have through the academy coming up. But still, we have to wonder then what we're going to be doing with our striker situation. Now, Victor Osimhen, I think that had fallen through, which I think is also a good thing that it fell through because the amount of money that Napoli was asking for was way too much. Reminds me of the Lukaku deal. Not that they're even close to being similar players, but 100 million for a guy that, yes, has done well in Serie A. We do not know how that would translate into Premier League, so therefore we still need to go out and look around for what we can get actually to play in the number 9, or at least bolster that position up. Because like I said, right now, and Cuckoo and Jackson, with Jackson having some type of injury now, not training, we may not even see him in this preseason, and therefore maybe that's a good thing. Bad thing, who knows? Because like I said, we really want him to get under the whole philosophy for Maresca. But if he does need to heal up, hopefully he'd be fully fit for the first week. Even though we are playing Manchester City, that is still up in the air how that game is going to go, but it will be a good test for our boys and how well they can do under Maresca, because obviously Maresca is going to understand how Pochettino operates. I mean, most managers do, but the fact that he did work under him, he knows some of the ins and outs and how to actually manipulate the team to actually work against Manchester City. But as of right now, it looks like Romelu Lukaku should be on his way out, which is fantastic news. I'm glad to hear this because, like I said, he hasn't been able to do anything at this club for Chelsea. He's done other clubs, but again, it's never going to happen at Chelsea, not in any time now or in the future. I guarantee you that. So that is all I have for you today in this video. If you did enjoy this video, I greatly appreciate if you do hit the like button, subscribe down below, comment down below how you feel about Lukaku, how it all panned out for this player. I do want to know how you guys feel about him. So that's it, and I will see you in the next video.